Hello, my dear Cancer. Welcome to my Body and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do the reading for the month of July 2019. So we're entering Cancer season. Happy birthday, Cancer, for those with Sun in Cancer. And for those that have significant parts of their chart in Cancer, like the Moon or Rising or Venus, well, I'm sure you will feel the Cancer season quite deeply. And I'm sure we're all gonna feel the Cancer season quite deeply because it's all about nurturing and emotions. And I think that as a collective, whenever we're going through the signs, we are experiencing some of the traits and some of the well, let's say the paradigm or the discussions that are meant to happen in the area that each sign sort of specializes in, if that makes any sense. Anyhow, so Cancer, this is for Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. It's a general reading. If it resonates, it resonates, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. I pre-shuffled the cards already. With this resonating thing, I, for example, always check out my the readings for my other signs, like what's the not just the sun sign, but also the moon sign and the rising sign, especially. Sorry, because some of them sometimes resonate better than other. Depends where I'm at in my life and in my process. So, okay, there you go. So King of Swords shows up. So yeah, do check out also the other videos for your signs. For getting like a bigger picture is never only one energy. We're complex individuals. We are all really, really complex beings. And even if we don't think we are what we are, or and at the same time, yeah, it's that simplicity as well of what is it that matters, clarity of mind um and flow, which makes everything feel much simpler. But it is important to take a step back sometimes when I'm talking about a King of Swords. Take a step back and looking at the big picture of the landscape that we find ourselves in, whether it's the inner landscape, the outer landscape, whether it has to do with the way we relate with ourselves, how we reconcile these different aspects of ourselves, or how we reconcile the relationship we have outside of ourselves. Okay, there we go. Cancer, Queen of Cups, with the King of Swords. Mind and heart, mind and emotions. And these are like top of their suit. So I think we're doing well here. We're talking about I don't know. I think the people that find their way to this channel, to this reading, are people that already had been going through quite a process, inner processing, at a mental level, but also at an emotional level. So yeah, let's see what else do we have for Judgment, Justice, sorry, and the Sword again, and Balance. Wow, beautiful. One more card, please. Okay, I'm just gonna shuffle it here because it's much more comfortable. Alright, what else do we have for Cancer for July 2019? I hope you're well, Cancer. Alright, so we have the Four of Pentacles. And bottom of the deck, we have Three of Swords. And seems like the Lovers wants to show its face here. So I'm actually going to put it out as well. It seems they're connected, and it seems that they're talking about. I mean, like the Three of Swords can be about many things. Um, it doesn't necessarily talk about heartbreak, and also the lovers can talk about many different things. But in this case, like having these two together, I think it's actually having to do with some form of heartbreak coming from yeah, my processing of a relationship you find yourself in right now, or even processing of some past relationships. And this is your underlying energy, right? This is what we're working with this month, Cancer. um but you do have many tools and maturity. You have the maturity to deal with this right now. This is how it feels. We're having the king and the queen here and the justice, which is major arcana, right, at the core of your reading. I'm going to clarify these cards though. I usually read them together with the clarifiers, because it just brings a bigger picture. All right, so we have the Two of Wands with the King of Swords. The light here is just weird. Sorry, guys. I really hope you can see this. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. So we have the Two of Wands with the King of Swords. And we have the Six of Pentacles with the Queen of Cups. All right. All right, what else do we have here? We have the Page of Pentacles with Justice. Beautiful. And what do we have for the Four of Pentacles? Okay. The Three of Cups. Well, beautiful. And as I was shuffling, the Ace of Wands wanted to show its face a little bit. It turned over, but it didn't fall. But I feel like, yeah. Ooh, the High Priestess at the bottom of the deck to go along with your heartbreak theme. All right. So, Cancer. Let me tune in just a little bit. So you have the High Priestess coming with the Three of Swords and the Lovers. And the High Priestess talks about your inner voice, your inner wisdom, your wisdom that comes from not from necessarily knowledge like the King of Swords, or from mm, research and things like this. It's and not even necessarily as the experience, like I don't know, the ones that the High Priestess talks about the innate wisdom we have within ourselves, the gut feeling, the intuition, and we can access that as we get closer and closer to ourselves, as we spend time with ourselves, and as we tune in to ourselves. That can mean meditation, that can mean spending time in silence, alone, um, and looking inside, really. Like, see, I see these two columns here, and then I see also the Lovers. Mm, it's about duality here. The High Priestess is like it's right after the Magician, on the Major Arcana journey, and it's the beginning of duality. It's understanding that in order to grow in on this path, we need to understand the self as a separate entity from the rest, and And then we go and start exploring the self through the journey. And then with the lovers, we get to that point where we understood self, and in order for to growing out of the self, not just getting stuck in the whole um, individualism and separation, we fall in love, or we fall in love whether it's a person, whether we discover that love outside of ourselves or within aspects of ourselves. But it's usually, I think in this case, has to do with like going in and then finding what is it that loves you, we really really love. And with this Three of Swords here, which has to do a lot with processing and aligning mind and heart. mm, Three is mental, it's about the mind, and swords is also about the mind, right? Two is about emotions, and six is also about emotions. No, six is about the mind as well, mind and heart. Just in terms of numbers. But it's interesting to see that the Three of Swords is mind energy. It's mainly mind, but we have the heart here as a reminder that we gotta process the emotional pain. We do that by going inside and discovering why is it that we feel that pain, why is it that we feel the heartbreak, why is it that we feel abandoned, were we really abandoned, who did the abandonment really, is this wound that happened now, is this the other person that hurt me? If this is the case, it's not necessarily about relationships, as I said. Or did I carry this wound forever, and now it's just another time where it shows up? um it's really aligning mind and heart. And six of sorry, the lovers can be read a lot like that as well, aligning mind and heart. um anyway, the lovers is like when we get out of the self and we are motivated by something that we love outside of ourselves, to push ourselves to expand. um if with the high priestess I understand the duality, and I understand that there's this concept of self and that I need to tune in. With the lovers, I understand that um by falling in love with a person, or by falling in love with my work, or by finding that inner passion, I can expand. I'm and whether it's sexuality, or what is it that um forces you to stop taking yourself only only yourself into the account. It's that expansion of the self. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. But it's a really beautiful moment, and it's a very deep an important step in the inner process, in the personal growth um, journey, and journey to expand one's consciousness. It is truly important to understand um, also that with the lovers, it's like we're starting for the first time to see that though I am a separate entity, I feel the need for connection, real need of connection. And then throughout the whole major arcana, we go to the point where we connect again with the oneness, with the collective, with the universe, whatever you want to call it. But it is a personal journey we all gotta go through in this lifetime. And the King of Swords with the Two of Wands, I think, like, Cancer, you're finally, you're seeing it. You're seeing everything, like you're seeing at a mental level what's been happening, and I think you've been in need for this mental clarity. And because you can get drawn into emotions, like you feel emotions, you feel them deeply. You're very empathetic and you nurturing character. And sometimes it's easy to get lost in there. Emotions are tricky. They're intense, they're beautiful, they're messengers and guides to ourselves, but at the same time they can confuse the shit out of us. And for someone who's like so deeply in touch with their emotions, it is very possible at times to not see the big picture anymore. But with the King of Swords, and look at this guy, like seriously, he's looking at the world. He's like starting seeing the whole picture, the big picture, and he holds the world in his hand. And the King of Swords is a person who is like Aquarius energy. He can see the big picture. He can see thinking strategies. He's like the clarity of mind and ability to communicate everything. And in this case, again, too, it has to do a lot with emotions, and ones have to do with passion and with spirituality. I think you start seeing the opportunities out there. You start seeing that you are creating your own universe in a way. Actually, in a very literal way, but it's hard to really understand this many times. But with the King of Swords here, you understand it. You understand that what you put in there, whatever you put your focus on in terms of emotions. Like if you get stuck in emotions, you can get stuck in your um, whatever flavor that emotion can come. And if we give them too much, give the emotions too much weight, well, then we are bound for a very shaky trip. Because emotions, as I said, they come and go. They can go high and low, all that. But we create our universe by understanding the nature of emotions and understanding how we show up, how we react to these emotions. Therefore, the experiences that I'm going to attract are going to be of a different nature. And the Queen of Cups here comes with the six of sorry coins, six of pentacles, and the Page of Pentacles comes right after. So I think that you're mastering your emotions here. You are in within your power. You are within your highest authority. Queen of Cups is the empath, is the best type of counselor. She understands people's emotions. She understands humans' emotions, and best of best, she can actually nurture them, and she learns how to nurture herself. She knows when to take time off, and she knows when to connect. She can be a loving mother, she can be a loving partner, she can be a loving friend, but she also knows to take space and sort of like spend time, by the water alone in reflection and cleansing. People that are like very open emotionally, or very not necessarily open. When I say open, it doesn't mean that I openly talk about my emotions. It's more that I feel other people's emotions and I feel my own as well. Well, you can end up like holding on to other people's emotions, and again, it can become confusing. But I think that with the Queen of Cups here, this is what you're kind of called to do, and maybe this is what you're mastering right now. Six of Pentacles is about balance. It's about how you're balancing out your energy. It's about exchange, how much you can give and how much you can take. The Queen of Cups here, that's her archetype. That's what she does. She's a queen and she's not something smaller in the suit, because she learned how to master this. She learned how to allow her emotions to flow, allow herself to be open to other people's emotion, and to be able to nurture both herself and the rest of the people that she gets in touch with, because she learned how to not get herself depleted. It's very easy to be depleted when you're working from the emotional realm. You know, we are an emotionally repressed generation, and of course has to do also with where you're from, culturally based, and your family history and stuff. But as a generation, as a people, as an era, we have no damn clue how to deal with emotions. And the modern society is incredibly fast and confusing, and we can end up giving way more than we are able to, and then we feel completely depleted. Or we end up taking a lot, and then we're like, okay, wait, that's not the point. This is all about balancing that. And obviously it's got to do with emotions, it's got to do with emotional maturity, and also nurturing of these emotions. And with the justice of the Page of Pentacles here coming right after, and it's also the core of the reading. I think it has to do again with this is all about balance again. See, there's the scales right after another. um I think that you find new opportunities. The pages are new opportunities, the spark of a new understanding of things. And this is like Pentacles. This has to do with your physical reality. This has to do with um your something very tangible. It can be anything that's important to you right now. It's something that's valuable to you right now. If your career is that you're working on, I think it's an opportunity in that aspect. If it's I don't know, love, relationships, whatever it is that you're working with right now within your process, I think you're starting to see new value in your own process, and you start feeling more grounded and stuff. And this is like with justice, again, has to do a lot with balancing, but also has to do with balancing of scale at a more like karmic level, you know. I mean, you've been working on something, and you've reached this deeper understanding of different aspects of yourself. And I think that you're learning how to balance your emotions, and the way you spend your time and your energy helps you kind of like balance something that you've been working on for lifetimes. You're kind of like fulfilling one of those karmic journeys, karmic. I hope that makes sense to you. Because this is like page of also the pages tell the Page of Pentacles tells you to connect to your body right now, to connect to nature, to connect to oneself, to stay grounded, because this is how you nurture this new opportunity, this new direction. Justice is number 11. 10 is like end of a cycle. It's end of a cycle in minor arcana. In the major arcana, it marks um end of a inner cycle, you know, within stages. And yeah, 11, it's a new beginning. It's when you fulfilled a karmic contract. Let's put it this way. Justice has to do a lot with contracts, making and breaking of contracts. So maybe finally, oh my god, this actually looks really, really deep, and it has to do with processing of your emotions and relationships. Keeps taking me to processing the relationships. Of course, they can also be people in your life. The Queen of Cups can be you, the King of Swords can be actually somebody else that kind of like comes in your life with this whole um strategic mind, clarity of mind, amazing communication skills. um but that's just for you to discover that part of yourself, you know. We can embody each and every archetype that exists into the collective. But we encounter certain people sometimes because we need to work on certain wounds. And if the King of Swords appears as another person only to mirror back at you, what is it that you need to um, pay attention within yourself? And in this case is that you can see the big picture. You can step out and see, like, from a soul level, this journey, not just from small emotions. I mean, like, they're not small, they're big, but not, I mean, like, these the emotions come and go. They're not gonna last forever. They only last forever, or it feels like it lasts forever when we hold on to them. But you've learned that. And yeah, um the Four of Pentacles, it has to do with structure. All fours have to do with structure and a foundation. So you've created this new foundation, which is, again, it's very, very physical. It's very tangible. It's something that you can count on, that you can come back to. Emotions come and go. Now I feel good and I feel amazing. I feel the queen of the world, the king of the world, and tomorrow I can feel like black and uh, you know lonely and depressed and stuff. um but when you're building up your intellectual understanding of your emotions, and when you're observing things from your body, less from your mind, or less from that reactive self, that's when you can have that very, very clear foundations, and your relationships are going to change. The way you show up, the way you can communicate, the way you can feel through your relationship is going to be very, very different. um it is important when you have this structure, when you create this structure, to not become rigid within it, um don't fence up too much. But it is important to have the boundaries. It is important to create the space and to communicate that your friends, your partners, your lovers, your parents, family, your soul family will understand whenever you need time, especially if you communicate it from the heart. mm, and this is what will better all your relationships. I personally had sometimes troubles. Actually, the concept of boundaries was always complicated. I never really knew how to keep my boundaries. I did in a very aggressive way, but that was just because I was kind of like never knew how to put them in the first place. So it always felt like somebody's going to take advantage of what I'm offering. I was always counting on common sense of other people. That, okay, you need the emotional support. Yeah, sure, here I am. I'm gonna come and give you emotional support. I drop out everything at 2 a.m. and I'm gonna come to your place and I'm going to hold you while you cry because you're my friend, or even for strangers sometimes. But then I realized that we need to learn to say no. We need to learn to do things with the frequency that honors us. And we know this when we connect to the inner self, when we connect to the inner aspects of us, when we're connected to our body and with the nature more, with the breath, with the physical sensations. We can understand much better when we've been working too much, when we've been pushing ourselves too much, when we actually haven't been showing up. Well, sometimes we end up in the other extreme when we completely close down. um I say we because I relate to this. I'm not Cancer. I don't have much Cancer in my chart, but um I feel I can truly connect and relate to this whole difficulty sometimes of balancing out how much we give and how much we take. When we're taking too much space, when we're taking too little space. When we're taking too much space, is nothing wrong with taking too much space. Sometimes we really need it. I need to be alone, and sometimes I stay 1 week or 2 weeks. I don't want to see anyone. But then that can also isolate me, you know? We need to master this, and you are getting there, Cancer. You are getting there. You're starting to understand um, how much time you need to spend alone and how much time you need to spend with other people. And you can do it with grace right now. You can do it with much more ease because it flows, because you've got the foundation. You're not um you have that vision right now. You have that understanding of how much is it actually within your power, and how powerful you really are, and how we are giving our power away when we don't work on our terms and we don't put boundaries. Also, when we put too strong boundaries and we isolate ourselves. Mm, fascinating. I also see this mountain here. Mountains have to do with challenges. And I think that with these two cards together, you're learning to overcome the challenges from the inside. Rumi has a poem that says that, I'm paraphrasing here, I don't know exactly. Your task is not to seek for love, but to seek out and find all the blockages that you built up against love. So this is what we do when we go inside. This is what we do when we're actually dealing with older wounds, and when we are understanding our patterns, our thought patterns, and you do with the King of Swords, and how this affects our emotions, how much the way we think generates certain kind of emotional responses within ourselves. And sometimes those emotional responses, because a lot of people were like, okay, I feel bad, that means that the people in my life are treating me bad, or the situation is incredibly bad, or things like this. It's always external. Many times that we feel bad also because the way we think, the way we what internalized thought process we have, which has to do with old trauma and things like this. So processing of emotions involves the mind as well, and involves understanding the connection between the mind and the emotions, and how it's a circle. It is a circle. I feel bad, therefore I think there's something wrong. I think there's something wrong there. I feel bad, and the key is to ground. The key is to let go of this, take a step back, and understand how you're creating experience like this. All right, guys. Um, this is your message for July. I hope this makes sense to you. If you resonate with it, please like, share, and subscribe. I'm so happy to see you here again. I also do readings for new moon and full moon. Check that out when the time comes. And I'll see you here soon. Have an amazing, amazing July. This is your season. Make the best out of it. This is a very inspiring journey that you're taking on here. And thank you so much for doing this inner work. Thank you so much for being introspective and for looking and how to unblock what's blocking you from the inside in order to show up into the world in an empowered place, from an empowered place. So sending lots of love, and I'll see you here next time. Happy birthday.